Hello guys, today I have somebody with me, Preston, and we're going to be talking about the clones and like gene editing technology, like humans, embryos, and how it might over time, if this continues, change the perspective of religion and just the overall, just how humans view the world, almost like a mind shift. I'm going to start off by asking Preston, how do you feel about human cloning and just, embryos, the Lulu and Nana, who are HIV resistant due to the doctor, gene editing them as embryos from HIV parents who were HIV positive. Like, how do you feel about all this? Clones as in animals.
Well, my stance on clones is pretty much that I'd say go for it, If you want to grow a clone just to harvest their organs, I mean...
So we're going into harvesting organs. So see, that's another positive. You can grow organs.
Yeah, but then there's the issue of like, it's still a human,
There's still probably some issues.
So there's the mind that would be intact as well, and you don't want it to be torture. But if you could find a way to clone just the torso of a human body, for example, I mean, I'd say go for it.
Yep.
That way you don't have to rely on donors.
Yep, it would take a lot of the waiting lists down.
And as far as the two twins that were HIV resistant, that's super cool too. I mean,
how do you feel about aliens?
It was gene editing, right?
It was gene editing.
Like CRISPR.
Yep, the CRISPR, which is what I think they also used during the
shot
time.
I feel like it's inevitable that we're moving towards the future where everyone's gonna be, designer babies, so to speak.
Gotta be careful though and have different groups, so there's not any like repetitive things and then like one sickness can knock everyone down.
Well, see, that's the problem. What do you have in nature when you grow two plants? When one plant fertilizes the next, its seeds have what? Genetic variation, which is something they automatically do. And when they stop doing that, but just like the banana plants, they're gone. The gene pool's like once they're wiped out, they're gone.
So you always need some type of genetic variation.
So down the line, would it not stand to reason that there would be some type of lack of genetic variation because you're making them pinpoint? Or would that not be a problem because you can just replace precise genetics?
If you do like too much or too little or do like an error, then it could also have negative effects. And we're still in the process, I would assume, of figuring it all out. If like a human is born with some type of severe defect due to being edited, and what do you do in that case? How do you feel about like aliens and clones and like getting microbes or DNA from another planet or like the space station that gets stuck on the outside and then cloning it with something that is from here on Earth?
I would say, make a hybrid. Let's see what happens.
A human or animal alien hybrid walking around somewhere.
I'm sure on the space station they're already doing, cloning procedures.
So, how do you think such things would change the religious perspective of many in the world?
Well, God is the creator of life. Nothing would really change because you're a female. You give birth to children. You are a creator of life, so to speak.
Yep. So everybody is technically a creator of life. I agree with that too. If you have children or anything, even if you grow like a plant from a seed, you're creating life in that moment. You're giving it the opportunity or an environment
but
to
that
thrive.
doesn't make you God.
I guess it depends on what perspective you're looking at it
So
for.
creating life in a laboratory wouldn't make you God either. Therefore, nothing would change about religion. It's
So
still going to be faith-based.
is the and the created equal essentially then as what I would then come to the conclusion. I
don't think I would have my own opinion about that.
Well, that comes into play in that moment, because if you have people over here in labs creating whole environments, creating embryos and babies and human clones and alien clones, then they would technically be creating something brand new, and that within itself would be life. And the definition of religion, according to Google, is the belief in worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or gods, a particular system of faith and worship, a pursuit or interest to which someone ascribes supreme importance. So it can have various different.
You said it was faith-based.
Yeah, it's
I feel like
faith,
religion. That's exactly the heart of religion. It's faith-based. So, if your whole perception of the world and afterlife is based in this unrelenting faith, just because somebody made some clones in a lab probably isn't going to deter you from still holding that perspective.
Yeah, but then I wonder, okay, you have faith, for example. What if people live forever due to this gene editing technology, or can cure all kinds of sicknesses, for example?
If you got hit by a meteorite, you'd still be dead.
Yeah, but then you could make a clone because you would have the DNA stored somewhere.
But
the question is, would it still be you and your consciousness?
I don't think it would still be you. It'd be a brand new consciousness.
I think it'd be like a mixture. I think there's parts of you. I guess you don't know unless you try.
I mean, what are you other than the memories that you hold?
But that's exactly it. Your DNA code is the memories that you hold. Any type of memory gets imprinted into your DNA, and that is you, and that's what passes down in the ancestry down the line, right? You're part of this, and you have some behaviors of this ancestor, and some, maybe even thoughts that they had. Yeah. And it's it's really weird, and it really makes you, really question it. Because it's gonna change one day, and I believe in the future, if this continues, it's gonna shift. They're gonna get away from religion slowly and worship something new. They're worshiping something more edited, something new. And technically throughout human history that's happened so often. Because, there once was a lot of gods, and then there was only one god, and then they made the 5 main religions that they have now, And it always slightly changes based on the times, and it's almost like we're entering a different time where we also have to, as humanity as a whole, slightly shift the way we think about religion and life and creation, because we ourselves are not only creating it by making babies or growing plants or something like that, but we can now also literally start out as a little dot and egg, put it together, tweak it, and make it designer,
Would we enter a world where everyone has a neutral stance on religion?
Yeah, and eventually, as time goes on, it would be neutralized, right? Because you would have hope in something new. There's always hope, because there's always going to be people who are going to be against it, I assume. There's going to be a small group of people who are probably going to always remain Christians